Hello, my friends, Enlightened Living Tribe. I do hope you are well. What a month we've had. It feels like an emotional drubbing. And I know many have felt like they've been on a roller coaster of emotions, but now we're entering what might be defined as a surrender phase. We're exhausted and the emotions have settled, and we can begin to reflect and see more clearly. This is an amazing time in history. Many believe that this shift is something we've longed for, either consciously or subconsciously. We've been inviting this transformation in. Our collective thoughts and actions have created an energy that brought this in. And we cannot go back to the same level of consciousness now. It can't happen. An evolutionary shift has occurred, and we now have an opportunity to step into a whole new reality. The wisdom traditions speak of a time of spiritual drought, the dark nights of the soul when humanity is cut off from itself and the divine. The oldest wisdom tradition calls this time Kali Yuga, the times of blackness, when the goddess of destruction stalks the land and ignorance, fear, and suffering prevail. We live in such a time today. Fortunately, it is a natural law that action provokes reaction. Many paradigms are going to begin collapsing, both personal and global. And we are, most of us, rising above the old level of energy and consciousness. One reaction to the crisis of modern civilization is a growth in the interest in things that bring us closer to a connection of our inner truth. An increase in the interest in traditional yoga practice, for example, personal development work, and the deeper explorations for the purpose of healing emotional wounds. Very soon now, the world will begin to figure out how we begin to move forward and return to normal. This pause that we've been forced to take is a blessing. The frantic pace of our lives, the treadmill we seem to have been running on, leading us to ruminate about not having enough time, being pulled in so many directions, overscheduling and undersleeping, that's come to an abrupt halt. So during this pause in the doing of life, we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see ourselves and our world clearly. A rare opportunity to experience what we may have silently wished for in our private moments. Can the world just stop for a moment? And in this pause, we see some truths, perhaps some we're not proud to admit: our destructive attitude toward our planet, our disconnection from the things that are important to us, and the prioritizing of things that contribute to those. We can't go back to normal because we've seen the truth, and normal won't feel right for many. So now is our time during this pause to reflect and feel. What do we want to put back into our life? This is an amazing chance to define a new version of normal. A rare and sacred opportunity to finally ask ourselves what would make us truly happy, how we want to spend our time, how we want to express our creativity, how we choose to support ourselves, and probably most importantly, how we choose to care for ourselves, our bodies and our minds, how we choose to create our wellness. This is an amazing opportunity. Rise from the ashes, stronger, better, smarter, kinder. The fear we feel is layered, but fear is simply imagining a future that doesn't yet exist. So you can just as easily imagine a future that makes you feel hopeful, happy. Fear is ultimately a sign that you're on the edge of the unknown. Bernie Siegel was one of the early researchers in what he called exceptional cancer patients. As an oncologist and physician, he said that he didn't want to study what was wrong with people. He wanted to study what was right with people. So he decided that he would look at cancer survivors who had very low rates statistically of surviving. If there was a disease and 80% of the people who got the disease died, Siegel said he wanted to study the 20% who didn't. And if 90% die, he wanted to study the 10% who don't. He wanted to find out the consistencies that are in that group of what he would then call exceptional cancer patients. His first book was called Love, Medicine, and Miracles. He recognized that the people who transformed difficult situations weren't people who didn't deny the facts, but they denied the power of the prognosis of those facts to affect them. When he heard the statistic that 80% of people die, they simply said, then I want to discover what it means to be in that 20%. There was something that many of them had, though few of them knew that it was really the power that helped carry them through. Those people weren't fighting a disease. It's not that they didn't do treatments or do things to overcome the disease, but where their energy was, where their attention and focus was on, was what they wanted to do after the disease was over. And they didn't wait until the disease was done to be doing those things. If they wanted to write the book, then they were spending part of their time now writing the book. Whatever it was, if they wanted to start a business, they put whatever energy they could into the life they wanted to be living post-disease. So their cells were getting messages of life, not fight. Their cells were getting messages of hope, not fear. And our cells carry our immune system. So the immune system was built even in the presence of difficulty. Well, you have an immune system actually in your own mind, and the virus of fear can become rampant throughout the mind, and we can't even see opportunities right there where someone else could see them because they were not consumed by fear. This is mastering the mind, and we all have the power to do that. Be well. I'll see you soon.